Hello. Welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast. My name is Dallas.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Gabby.
And what's up, guys? This is Demi, and I will be joining these guys today.
Officially joining us because she joins us every time.
Yeah.
Officially, yeah. I'm officially in this episode.
I honestly had no idea if she was going to be in it or not. So, surprise. Demi's here.
It's always a surprise. Okay.
I feel like I join in whenever you guys are discussing something that I feel like I love and that you guys just genuinely like or don't care about.
Or when you feel like commenting at any point, at any time, whenever you feel like it.
No, when I
joins.
officially
Oh.
join in.
Yeah.
Colin?
Well.
All right. Let's tell the people what we're talking about. Today, happy Throwback Thursday, first of all.
And happy Halloween.
Aha. Spooky.
Spooky.
Woo.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're talking about
We know that you guys
T2, Judgment Day.
Is it T2 or Terminator 2?
It's Terminator Judgment Day.
Ooh.
There's no 2?
There is no 2.
What?
We have the box right next to it.
Wild.
But the box says T2.
Ooh, now I'm confused. Wait. It
Oh,
says,
it's Terminator 2 Judgment
Oh.
Day.
you
Ah.
almost ruined my life.
Okay, that's a little much.
That's a bit much, yeah. But, like, I was like, there's no way there's no 2 in this title.
I mean, it might not have been. There's no number in the Dark Fate title.
Yeah, but Dark Fate's the whole thing.
In fact, there's no
it's like
number
the third
in
one
any-
story-wise, but it's not the third one because they made like 8.
No, it's the third one.
See?
We don't
According
But
to
it's like
James
the eighth.
Cameron, it's the third one.
We follow his lead.
Yeah. He's the one that made
I
them.
feel like movies are doing this a lot lately. Where they're like, hey, I made 2 good ones. So now my 9th one is going to be my 3rd
Yeah,
one.
but in this situation, it's
We'll just
because
pretend.
Which also
James
feels
Cam-
kind of rude.
well, in this situation, it's because James Cameron left after the second one and hasn't been working on any of them until this one.
Well, that feels particularly rude.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, all right, all you other guys,
The second he steps out, it's like,
y'all don't count.
Who cares?
Y'all are invalid.
I mean, it was his
It
work.
was his baby.
Right, but like, if you choose to hand it over to other people, you
I mean,
don't
he
then
didn't
get
choose to hand it over to
Yeah,
other
I'm
people.
not sure if he chose.
Yeah, he
to
just
hand
dipped
it
out.
over.
And then, what was it,
The
Paramount?
studio handed it over to other people.
Ah.
And the studio was wrong.
And to be fair, he was nice about most of the other ones that came out. So
Yeah, it's the rest of us that were shat on them.
People are mean.
Yes, we are. Okay, let's talk about this movie.
Yes. Jimmy, why don't you start us off since you love it so much?
So this was the first rated R movie I ever saw.
Ooh.
I was like 10,
Damn.
I think. And I think it was because my parents didn't realize it was rated R.
Ooh, you hate to see
But
it.
also because my friend brought it over for a sleepover, and we were watching it in the car while my mom was driving around running errands. So,
Interesting.
yeah, but it was the first rated R movie I ever saw. I love these movies. I think they're great. Well, I love the first two. The first two are great, and I've watched the other ones. I mean, I watch 5 for fun sometimes.
Which one's 5?
The one with Amelia Clark, and that's why I watch it.
Oh, that one.
that
I didn't finish that
Genesis?
one.
That's the most
Yeah,
recent one,
Genesis, yeah.
That
Yeah.
one got a little silly at the end, so I stopped.
That one was
but
silly all the way
up
through.
until the end, I was like, this is fine.
And I also was a big fan of the TV series. So the TV series in the first 2 Terminator movies I absolutely love. And I saw the other ones. And the only one that I super disliked was the third one. But yeah, I love the Terminator series. It's fun. It's great.
So that was your first time watching it.
Yep.
My first time watching it was a few years ago at Kayla's house because she was like, oh my God, you haven't seen the Terminator movies? You have to watch 2 of them because 2 of them are good. So we watched 2 of them and I was like, oh, this is dope. And then I never watched it again until like an hour ago.
Cool.
Colin, is this your first time watching the movie?
My first time watching the movie was 4 days ago.
I figured.
Because I have never even known what the Terminator movies were besides that there were robots in them.
Oh, cool.
And
That's interesting.
yeah, now I have seen the second movie, and I
Not the
haven't
first
seen
one.
any of the other ones.
Wait, you didn't watch the first one?
No, because they told me I didn't need to.
Oh, I like
They
That's
were
not what happened.
wrong.
I highly suggested that you watch the first
You
one.
don't really need to watch the first one because they fill you in.
Pretty sure that is what you said, or one of you. It's multiple of you
I
said.
definitely said that. I definitely said I highly suggest you watch the first one, but there is a slight recap in the second one.
It's like, but the only part that you would like, or like my favorite part about the second one that you would need to watch the first one for is like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, like the Terminator in the first one, is the bad guy. So
Yeah.
then her like they do
I
a bait
mean,
and switch in this movie
you're
where
able
you
to
think one
figure
of
it out.
them-
Like she doesn't. It doesn't tell you that, but she sees him and then goes, "Oh my God, he's terrible." So
Yeah, but
I got it.
But like there was like a nice little bait and switch where like so in the first movie the Terminator arrives and then John Connor's dad, whose name escapes me right now.
Kyle Reese.
Tyrese.
There you go. Kyle Reese arrives immediately after. So then this time Arnold's character arrives and that other guy arrives immediately after and you're like, okay, Arnold's bad. This other guy's the good guy. So you're like rooting for the other
guess
guy
that's
for a
supposed to
minute
happen.
there, and then it's like a bait and switch. It's like,
Oh.
no, that guy's bad. Arnold's good. Let's get going.
It's also really nice to
Okay.
see the character changes in Sarah in particular.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Gabby.
Yes.
Is this your first time watching the movie? I bet it's not.
It's not. My dad really liked this movie, so I would watch it a lot as a very small child, and I literally only remember the last part where he goes, hasta la vista, and like he melts into the.
He does a thumbs up.
Yep, and he does the thumbs up. So I only remember that part as a child. I did not remember any of the first part of this movie.
That's funny because most of the iconic moments of Terminator 2 are from the beginning of the movie, like the rose petal thing where he pulls the gun out of the rose box. That's that's like an iconic shot.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I literally just remember the vat and like the thumbs up and the little boy going, no, like he's sad that he's dying. And then as an adult, I realized I'd never watched the first Terminator movie, and I was like, oh, I should probably see that. And I watched it in college.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I also watched it out of order, so it's up. It's fine.
Yeah,
I watched the second one, and then I watched the first one much later.
The second one's so good. Like, it's
But yeah, the
different.
second one is one of the greatest sequels ever.
Yeah, because it's better than the first one.
Yeah.
Although the first one's really great. I did really enjoy the first one. It's very 80s.
It's also
like
a
a good way.
different genre altogether.
Is it?
The first one's more of a horror thriller, and the second one's more of an action movie.
Yeah, they're both
Fair.
actiony, but like this
Fair.
one is more robot versus robot. The other one is like, oh my God, run. This robot's going to kill
Yeah.
you and your family.
Fair. But mostly just you.
And
And
any
your
other
housemate.
woman named Sarah Connor.
Oh, that's true. And her housemate and like everybody.
Catching bodies all over the streets.
Yep, catching bodies.
So the story. What? Never mind. Demi, you like the story.
I do, yeah.
Tell us why.
Basically, the story of Terminator 2 is that two Terminators are sent back in time, this time to kill John Connor before he has a chance to become the the military leader of the free human race in the
Right.
future.
Yeah.
And on the way, John basically has to confront the fact that everything his mother said to him when he was a small child is true, and that he is going to be the future leader of the world. And like, there's like human conflict there. That's what I really love is the human conflict that they face within themselves. But yeah, I love the story of this kid who is basically he's a messiah. He's prophesied to be the savior of the world.
Yeah.
And this entire story is about protecting the future savior of the world and being protected by the last person you would want to be protected by, which is somebody who is of the same, I guess in this situation, a race as the people who want to kill you.
Yeah.
Wild.
Which is why Sarah freaks the hell out when Arnold shows up.
Yep.
Which, like, that's fair.
Yeah, you spent a whole
he
movie
spent
trying
the
not to get
whole
killed.
time to kill her.
Yeah.
And now, apparently, he's not going to kill her anymore.
He's now protecting her and her son.
Well, that was because he was reprogrammed to do so by John from the future.
Yes.
True.
Yep.
Which, like, she had no way to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't send
No.
a letter.
No.
He really should have.
He can't. There's no possible way to do that.
You
Why
can't,
not?
Because with
you
time
can't.
travel,
get
you
there-
can't
you
send
get
anything
there-
that's not
You get there naked.
biological.
That's why everybody arrives naked.
So write it on his skin.
Ooh, good idea.
You could have just told
Good one.
him to tell her.
Or that.
Like, hey, I was sent by
Yeah.
your
I mean,
son.
he
again.
does, but her first reaction is, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
Right. But, like, she does a lot of oh my God before. He doesn't even say anything. John runs out and is like, Mom, wait.
Yo, I mean, she's
but
triggered.
that makes sense. Like, he's the only one that's gonna would be able to convince her.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else would.
Yeah,
I still would have told Arnold, like,
she's
hey,
been-
just tell my mom when you get there, because she's probably going to try to kill you or run. Just tell her, like, hey, your son sent me.
I don't think
But
she would
also,
listen.
like, John Carter.
That's true.
John Carter.
That's
John.
a different man.
different hero.
Yep, different hero. But Connor was like there when all of it happened, right? So he knew that like it would work itself out because he was physically there when that whole exchange went down.
Oh, yeah, memories, time travel. It's weird. 'Cause,
That's
yeah,
what-
he would have had to remember, like, being there when the whole thing.
But then, no,
Ugh.
you know what? I don't want to talk
Don't
about
do
Yeah,
it.
that's too
Don't
much.
do it.
That's too much.
That's what Genesis was all about.
I mean,
don't do
that's
it.
also why like John
Like,
gave his
then-
dad a picture of his mom because he's like, I have to give him a picture of my mom.
Or else I'm never gonna be born.
Yeah, or
he has
else
to fall in
he's
love
gonna
with my
fall
mom.
in love with this picture.
Yeah, he has to
Which
fall
is
in love with my
creepy.
mom
Which is
before he
fucking
meets her.
wild, like wild. And then Arnold, and like he's like, when he was like, I want to know my dad, and then he's like, yeah, you will, and he's like, when I'm like 45, and it'll be weird. It's like, yeah,
I freaking love John Connor in this movie.
he's fucking wild.
Okay,
that
well,
kid was.
before we get into
wild.
characters, story-wise, yes, I like the story. you guys have opinions.
Wow.
Yeah. It's cool. It's just, I feel I was watching it and it got to like, one of the more iconic scenes with the truck chasing John.
Yeah,
on the
it's
dirt
down
bike.
the LA River.
And I was just like, man, it's like, it's not the movie's fault because it came out so long ago that it wasn't cliche back then. But if I just had to list, like, if I just wanted to throw things into a cliche action movie, like this has all of it. And it's probably because of this movie that they've all just started to do that.
Action movies have
so.
become
And it's
this
just
way
like-
because of movies like this.
That's part of the reason why I think when I watched it for the first time, it was a few years ago. So it wasn't like when it first came out, or when a lot of people our age watch it as kids and they haven't seen a lot of the other action movies already.
Yeah.
Because like this movie is a big deal because it does all these things well, and it did them before it was really common.
Yeah.
By the time I saw it, all this stuff was pretty common.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, the shotguns and the motorcycles and the trucks and the robots and
Yeah.
that's all cool. But like I said, that's not the movie's fault. It's just,
no.
I didn't see it at a time when it would have been like, oh my God, that's so different.
Yep.
And that goes for the story as well.
Yeah.
Colin, you wrote notes.
I did. Don't remember what I wrote in them because that was
Like
days ago.
split off my mic to say that.
He always writes so many notes, and I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get to all of these.
But at least he like has stuff.
He does have stuff.
I have to organize my thoughts. Man, this movie is long. It is so long.
For the record, Colin also watched the extended version.
It
of
could
this
have been
movie.
Me too.
half an hour long, and it still would have been too long. Fuck. Oh my God.
There's
I
a
just
lot of
like-
layers to it though. A lot of plot.
Boy,
A lot of character
is there.
stuff.
Yeah.
but I
But I feel like they deal with it well.
God.
The character stuff.
It's like I know I don't like
Plot.
action movies, but man, this movie, I just like there were so many times where I had to like pause it and get up and walk around because I was so bored. I don't know. It just felt like it wasn't doing. Maybe because I didn't watch the first one, I didn't know who the characters were. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't really feel like they were changing or growing or doing anything that mattered
Ooh,
besides like the plot.
disagree there.
Just like I don't. Who are you people and why should I care? Was kind
Fair.
of my mood for the entire movie. Except for like the black dude. I thought he was cool because he had, a life.
Because he had some kids.
He had some kids, he had a wife.
He wasn't
I
going to
mean,
take
these
the
people
original.
have
He went to
lives
Raging Waters.
too, and the thing is that their lives are so different than what's absolutely normal.
But see, I feel like
Yeah.
they didn't have lives outside of the plot. Which makes sense. A
That-
lot of stories do that, and I get that.
that's what their life has become.
I
which
feel
is-
like John did in the beginning.
Well,
at
okay,
least,
yes, that's true.
Yeah,
he
John
was
has
with
a life.
the other people,
He
and
was
he
just
was
being a dick.
Yeah,
to society in general.
yeah, pretty much.
He was a kid who was in foster care and his mom was like in a penitentiary for crazy people. Like I feel like, he was
He's just going to be a bad person.
gonna be like an angry kid.
This is a good transition to characters.
characters.
Because I don't like John when this movie
I
starts.
love
Fair.
John.
Because he's a little dickhead.
Well, yes, he is.
He
And
totes is.
it's like, I like the interaction between him and, what's his, T-800 to an extent. Like, when he's like, you can't just kill people. And Arnold's like, why? He's like, because you can't. He's like, why? And it's just like,
It's like a child and a toddler.
yeah, like, why can't I do this thing? This is what I do. It's easy for me. I'll just do it. So we get a nice, like, oh, yeah, John is kind of a dick, but he's not a psychopath. He at least doesn't want the robot to kill everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the way we get introduced to him is just like, oh, man.
Well, I
Wish
think
we could
that's
have had another shot at that.
I think that's kind of the point, though, and that's what I love about John Connor in this movie is that you get off the first movie and it ends with Sarah pregnant and she's driving off into the sunset. She's going to go off and become this badass and she's going to train her son to be a military leader. And then you come into the second movie and Sarah's in an asylum and John is a troublemaker.
Yeah, he's like,
Like,
a little
he
shit.
has a rap sheet. He has everything. Like,
Yeah.
he's an awful person. This is not the hero of the future.
Right.
Like, this is not the guy you want to be saving your
Yeah.
life. But that's what I love about him is that he's so not the hero type. And on
He's
top
a
of
reluctant hero.
he's not even a reluctant hero. It's just that he grew up, his mom taught him, you're going to be the future leader of the world. And then a bunch of people took his mom away and were like, your mom lied to you. Your mom's crazy. Everything that you've ever known is a lie. So of course he's angry. He's not reluctant at being a hero. He just doesn't believe in anything.
That's true.
And then finally when it hits him, like when he sees it full on in front of his face, he's like, oh my God, this is actually going to happen.
And now he's like, okay, the scene where they're like running away from the T-1000.
Yes.
From the asylum, and they're in the car and the mom's like, handing him guns and he's like reloading.
That's one of my favorite
part
scenes.
was like, well, to me that was like John's accepted what this is and he's going into like his training mode. And at that point I was like, well, because here's the thing that I do like John, but he was a little shithead at the beginning.
Yeah, he is.
I was like, ugh. But what I like about this movie is like it makes you like him and believe that he can be the leader he's going to be from beginning to end. So there's like character growth, or at least there's like a sympathy and empathy that comes for that character throughout the movie. But what I like about the beginning though is you could see that John knows some shit, right?
Yeah.
He's at the ATM. He knows how to use a computer to get PIN codes. Like
He's supposedly 10.
and
allegedly.
somehow he's only 10 years old. Like, and he's like doing all this stuff, and he knows how to do, you know, and he's running around town, and he knows how to like fix bikes and do all this stuff. So like, you can tell that like, even though this is a child, it's a very like knowledgeable and like somehow trained to do some weird, like really like intense stuff.
Yeah.
But like he's just a shitty little kid. Like,
Well, that's the other thing too. I love that the movie makes you kind of feel bad that this kid has to become who he has to become.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to be a regular kid.
Yeah.
Because immediately after the scene where he's reloading everybody's gun, his mom goes off on him about saving her. She's like, no,
Yeah.
you shouldn't come for me. They're after you. You need to go save yourself. I'm not important. And you can see in his face, he starts crying after she
like,
goes off on
no.
him because he's just like, I just want my mom.
yeah.
And that brings us to Sarah, because Sarah was a completely normal person in the original Terminator
Yeah.
film.
She was basically like a damsel in distress that whole movie until like the last like third of it.
Yeah, but then you come to this movie and she's a completely different person.
She's like the
But
hero.
there's that scene in the desert where she sees him playing with the Terminator, and she's like, she wants the same thing as John. She's like, I want my son to be a normal kid. I want to be a normal mom for my son. And then she immediately after has a vision of the future of everybody dying from a nuclear explosion, and immediately she's like, but I can't.
Yeah.
And I
While
love
she's
that.
watching herself with
Yes.
the baby.
Yeah, she's like, I want John to be normal, and I want him to have a normal life, but he can't. He's made to be something more important than that. He has to be ready for when that comes. And I like seeing these characters are fully human. They have to do things that they don't want to do maybe, but they do them anyway because they have to be better. And I like the moments that show that within this movie because they're really great moments.
I was really glad she didn't kill the black dude when she went to his house.
Oh,
Miles
she
Dyson.
was ready to.
She was ready to shoot him in the
What I
freaking face.
like though is that all they had to do was like show him that Arnold's a robot, and he's like, "Fine, I will do what you need to do. We don't
Which,
need to
honestly,
make Skynet." And I was like, "Damn, that was quick."
I feel like that should have been the first plan.
right.
Like, oh, hey, if you build that computer, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Here's a robot. Don't
this
do
is
it.
proof.
But
He'd probably be like, all right, but.
Yeah, Sarah's just so
She's like, I'll
like,
just shoot him in the
she's
back of the
so-
head.
hot-headed.
I think not just that. Like she's been telling people for 10 years that this
And
thing's
nobody
gonna
ever
happen,
believes her.
and no one's ever believed her. So I feel like she's low key a little bit crazed at this point because she's like, I've seen it, but like there's no proof, right? And then the one proof that existed was like immediately taken by somebody and like stored somewhere where the general public can't see it. So like I can understand why she was like, look, I gotta drop some bodies. I'll be back real quick because that's all I need to do to fix this. Instead of like a normal person, or like calmly going up to a door and being like, "Hello, here is proof of the damage that you're gonna cause, and can we destroy it?"
Yeah,
Like,
can we stop you now?
but I like that John went in there and stopped her because like,
That's another moment of showing that John is the future leader.
yeah, because he's like, "Nah, I don't care what she said. We're gonna go do it."
Yeah, and that he's not a psychopath.
I always forget Joe Morton is in this movie.
Who?
The guy who plays Miles Dyson.
Oh, that's
So-
his name.
Yes.
Oh,
I just
okay.
call him Miles Dyson.
Where else is he from? Because he looks
He's
really
on
familiar.
Scandal. He plays Kerry Washington's dad.
That's who he is.
And every time I see him,
I
I'm
was
just like, can
I've
you
seen
monologue at me
him.
for like
He
20 minutes?
monologued a lot on that show.
He's great.
He's also Cyborg's dad in Justice League, and I was like, you again messing with the
He
robot.
Because of Terminator.
is.
I guarantee you that's why they hired him. They were like,
that
Terminator callback.
You can't stop messing with the
Didn't
robots.
get it, but now I do. Because like I said, as a child, I do not remember the first half of this.
I always
of this
forget that
movie.
he's in Terminator until I, watch it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're
But
in this.
I just really like that he was on board, though. He was like, you know what, fuck it, whatever, let's go save humanity. I'm like, yes.
To me,
Yes,
you're a director.
I am.
How do you feel about the visuals and the sounds and the things?
I mean, this movie was made or it was released like the year we were born.
It was.
I think it came out in like 92,
Oh,
maybe
of course.
91.
91.
91 maybe.
So before we were all born.
Yeah, it's great for like the 90s. Some of the stuff that they're doing is pretty impressive.
Wild. I thought it was like 95 or 96.
Yeah, like the T-1000, because the T-1000 like melts himself down. And
Yeah,
becomes
like the liquid metal
stuff
and all
like that. Yeah, that's pretty, like, I mean, some points you're like, yeah, that's CGI. But like, it's the early 90s. And for the early 90s, it's pretty good looking.
Yeah. I'm amazed at like the amount of special effects they were able to do.
And it's the same thing with the original
and, like,
movie
the quality.
too.
Yeah. I'm just like, it's wild.
I think my favorite scene though, like visually, is the scene where Sarah and John take the thing out of the back of the Terminator's head that basically shuts him off for a while.
Yeah.
She's going to smash it with a hammer. And John comes over, and he's been holding a light this entire time. And I love watching him with his light. And I'm like, are you guys really just using him to practically light your scene right now? But he's lighting the scene, and then he hangs it up and stops Sarah. And when he goes to hang it up, it just starts swinging.
Oh,
and then
nice.
it swings for the rest of the scene, and you watch it as it lights Sarah's face, and it just goes back and forth between her being in dark and light and dark and light.
Nice.
And John too. It's such a good looking scene and such a practical way of filming it with your light inside the scene. That's me being a director. Hi.
Yeah. Light. Diegetic. Can you use diegetic for light or just sound?
Usually you just use it for sound. We use
Yeah.
it for everything here.
Can
Sure.
you explain?
So like usually if you're like diegetic music, it means that the music is being played within the universe of the film.
Oh, okay.
Non-diegetic means that it's being played, but the characters don't necessarily hear it. So
Right.
in
So
this
like the
situa-
score
I
is
understand.
non-diegetic.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
in this situation, Dallas is saying a diegetic light because
Yes.
the characters are aware that this light is right here.
Exists. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's great. Oh, and also the end of the movie where you've got like all the fire and then no more fire. Everything gets cool looking and stuff like that. And then it gets warmer and then cool. Cool as in like color
Blues.
temperature,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
in
like
blue,
blues.
stuff
Blues.
like that.
Yeah.
Warmer as
In
in,
reds and yellows
yeah,
and oranges.
warmer color temperature.
So I was watching this movie and I was thinking that like I'm really glad my favorite movie is animated because I know a
'Cause
lot
it
of people whose
won't ever
favorite
age.
movie
Yeah.
is like Terminator 2, and like yeah, the movie's always gonna be great as far as I'm concerned at least. But like looking back on it, like when they shoot the T-1000 and you just has these like big
And
silver
they're just
like
on
they look
him.
like bowls on his chest.
Yeah, but
It's
like
just
he just put him on there.
Yeah.
Like they just stuck him
and it's
on
just
there.
like I don't have to worry about going back one day watching Lion King and be like, oh man, animation used to be terrible. Like
But there's something
Yeah.
so great about watching a movie like that and watching it now and being like, yo, maybe it hasn't aged well, or
Yeah.
like maybe it has aged really well.
Like,
But to see the influences
Park.
that it's made on Hollywood itself is awesome. Yeah, Jurassic Park, dude,
that one's aged
really well.
really well.
yeah, that's
Some
a special
people-
case because
Some
like,
people
But
think
that's
Everyone's
because
always
they
talking
did
about
the
how well
right
it-
balance
Yeah.
of CGI to practical effects.
And
Yeah.
some people might like, you know, some people be like, well, Star Wars effects look old. I'm like, bruh,
Those are actually, that one's aged well too.
yeah, I'm like, Star Wars has aged pretty well.
The only part that looks really, really bad to me in Star Wars is like the lightning. Whenever they do the lightning,
Oh, the,
I'm
like, the
like,
lightning hands?
yeah,
Sparkle
that
fingers.
in
Force
like
lightning.
the well, and you know what hasn't aged well actually is like the early 2000s Star Wars movies.
The special
'Cause
editions?
yeah, no, because I'm watching those right now with my housemate, and like the Gungans are starting to look like the T-1000 metal.
Yeah.
Like the details that we used to see in there are no longer enough. So I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
but there's
that's
still
what I
something
need to
cool
go
about
through.
getting to watch the process of
And, like,
filmmaking.
The progress,
Yeah.
yes. But like I used to watch them and would be like, there's so much detail. And now I'm like, there's like no detail. Like and I'm kind of worried about Guardians because that's also one of my favorite movies, and I don't want it to age poorly.
Yeah.
But like
I
anything
don't think it will,
CGI
but if it
ages
does,
really poorly.
you know, you got a couple of decades.
I think the action
chill
scenes
out.
in Terminator are also just really well shot. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about that scene earlier of him reloading the guns. That's such a great scene.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
whole
the
thing.
kid, yeah,
Uh,
and like it's also just like a really good character scene
Yeah.
because you
It
like
says so
really-
much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a screenwriting teacher who told me that the way you learn about characters is not necessarily through their dialogue, but
no,
through
it's
the
their
way that they
actions
behave.
and the way they act. Yeah, that's the best way to like show me. Don't tell me.
Yeah, and it's great.
And also like the way that we learned about his rap sheet was like they looked him up and you could see like he's got a record.
Damn.
Like that's also a great way. Like you like show me. You know?
I also liked there was an asylum scene with Sarah running through the corridor, and then she walks outside and she ends up in her vision. I like that scene a lot too.
Oh yeah, like when she goes out and then there's like she's
Yeah,
in
and
the
then
grass
she's
and there's a
suddenly
fence.
outside and everything's happening, and everything looks so nice, and then bam, nuclear bomb.
Boom, roasted. Sorry.
Gross.
I'm guessing that's no one's favorite part of the film. To me, what's your favorite aspect of this movie? Is it the
you know,
people being
it's-
murdered?
Dallas.
I
Just
think
asking.
I think it's the characters.
Fair.
Watching it this time around, I really realized how much character work goes into this movie, and I think sometimes action movies really don't focus much on that. And because of where Sarah Connor has come from as a character and where she ends up being at in Terminator 2, and then getting to see John being somebody who you don't expect him to be,
Right.
I think that the character work is what really shines about this movie, more so than anything else. So like we were saying, like some of the visuals might age, but the character work done on John, on Sarah, on even the T-800,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
stuff that's never going to fade. That's stuff that's always going to speak to people, and that's what you want to do when you're telling a story.
I feel it.
I agree.
My favorite part is something we haven't talked a lot about is the T-1000's, I guess, kind of character. Because I like the contrast between the T-800 and the T-1000. Not just in that the 1000 is like, better. But
As he should be.
he can act human. Like when he turns into a
Yeah.
cop and he goes to the house, he's like, oh, hi. Are you John Connor's guardians? Like, he's talking to him like a normal person.
Yeah.
Like T-800
Talks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like he
It's
can
a
impersonate
robot.
voices.
He's a robot.
Yeah, but like he doesn't do the like, oh, you think I'm a human because I can talk to you like a human.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, don't worry about that, man. We're gonna take care of it. Da, 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 da. Have you seen this boy? He's at the Galleria. Cool, thank you. Like, so I like the comparison between the two. It's really cool to see, in a fight. Obviously, T-1000 whoops him, but
Another thing about that, though, about the T-800 side of that, I
Mhm.
love the scene where John, the T-800, and Sarah in the car,
yeah,
and John is teaching him how to talk. He's like, don't say affirmative. Come
Yeah.
on, man. Like,
And
See,
he's
that's the
like,
scene that I
no
feel like-
problemo.
that's a scene that I feel like aged badly because like
It did, but I
the
was
slang
just
of the time. I don't. There's one thing he says, and I'm like, I've never heard someone say that, and I don't remember which one it was. It wasn't no problemo, or it was something like when you're trying to shine somebody on or something like that. And I was like, what is he talking about?
I don't know. I love that scene, though, because I love John's enthusiasm about teaching this T-800 how to talk like a normal person.
Yeah,
And it
Arnie
also-
is picking it up.
I think
Little by
Terminator Genesis kind of tried to take from that scene because Emilia Clarke's version of Sarah Connor tries to teach the T-800 how to be normal. And and
They're
there's
still
like
teaching
this,
him.
Yeah. There's also the scene where
I
like
think it's a different T-800
yeah, it's a
every
different
time.
one.
Oh.
But there's also the scene where John tries to teach the T-800 how to smile,
Oh yes, that was great. Whew. And haunting.
as
It's
it should be.
Because like the smile he points out isn't even a great one. Like the guy's on the phone, he's like, "That's a smile," and I'm like, "Is it?" 'Cause that guy was like smiling, but not that much better
It
than the
didn't reach
T-800.
his eyes.
So like, yeah, he
He was
got
on the
that.
phone.
And I was like, "Oof, that was."
Gabby, what's your
Ugly.
favorite aspect?
It's kind of hard. I think my favorite aspect is more like a scene. Like I really like, because it's all I could remember from my childhood, the end scene and like the melting. And like I remember as a kid, it was one of the first times where I like really empathized with the character on screen. And like John being like, no. And like I was like also feeling like, no, like as I was watching it. So I really do like that part, like the end part.
And Colin, is there anything about this movie that you like? And, make sure people know that you're still existent on this podcast.
Oh my God.
He's here. He's chilling.
Why are
yeah.
you hating on the Colin?
Right? She's just like,
Just went
oh,
for
hey,
your
just going to
jugular.
tear your entire life to shreds.
Shredded
You
like a
called me
julienne
out so
salad.
hard on the Snow White fan cast that it's only right
Did
that
I?
I return the favor.
Anyway, I mean, my favorite part of this movie is, I think it's during are there multiple car chases?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. I don't remember which one it is, but there's a car chase. I think it's at night. The T-1000, I think they're in a cop car. He, clings to the car with, these blade hands and
Oh,
stuff going
yeah.
on. And then, they shoot him or something, and they knock him off. And when he rolls on the street, his hands make these, tiny tinking sounds because
Clink,
they're
clink,
metal.
clink, clink, clink,
And
clink.
it's the best thing.
It's like such a good I
It's
remember
something
thinking
I wouldn't think about because you'd think you just
Yeah.
hear somebody rolling because it's a person, but no,
Yeah,
they
but
actually
it's a piece of
went
metal.
to the effort to be like, no, these are metal, so they would make metal sounds. It's like, yes.
Yes, I like
good,
that attention
absolutely.
to detail.
This
I
is-
noticed it too.
This is why I don't do sound design because I'm bad at it because you do have to think of every little thing that might make a sound in a scene. And I'm just like, I can't. I don't have the time. Somebody
Yeah.
else needs to do this for me. I
Yeah,
can't.
Foley sounds
Yeah.
exhausting. But also
Foley-
kind
It
of fun.
sounds fun.
Foley,
though.
it's exhausting.
I did it in class once. We can
I've
talk
done
about
it
that later.
too, and it's so tiring.
Clink, 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 clink. Polo ting ting.
Probably a little tank tank. I love
Yeah.
that John also takes off the last remaining piece of it off the thing.
Oh
and
yeah,
throws
and
it
like
Oh, yeah.
throws it. He's like, let's
He-
not risk it.
I mean, I'll do the same thing. Like, yo, this
yeah,
thing.
no. This
gonna
needs
stab
to
me in
get.
the
I
head.
mean, also this thing shows that it melts. Like, what if it makes a smaller robot? No, I'm just gonna get rid of it.
So, Demi, you're super excited for the next movie.
I am.
What
I'm
are you
always-
expecting?
I'm always super excited for a new Terminator movie, even if they're bad.
Same.
What am I expecting? People have gone to early screenings already, and they're saying that it's the Force Awakens of the Terminator franchise.
I heard that too.
And they're saying that this Terminator is up to par with the first Terminator and the second Terminator.
So does that mean like it revives the franchise, or it's a retread of the first one? Like,
I've heard
Force
both.
Awakens.
I've heard it's both.
It's a mixture of both, and it sounds like it is going to be a mixture of both because
There's
of
an
the
entire
character
different-
Danny.
yeah.
Danny is being chased by a Terminator in the same way that Sarah Connor was in the first movie, and
Right.
Sarah has to save her.
Yeah.
So it's something similar.
There's also a Terminator that's helping them, or like a person Terminator that's helping them.
Still don't know what that is.
Played by Mackenzie
Davis.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
she looks so cool. I want to like cut my hair like hers. Is how cool she looks.
Yeah, I'm super excited
No?
though.
Okay, yes,
With-
ma'am.
No, I don't know, Gabby. That's a you question. That you got to make that decision.
Kayla was just like, "Don't do that."
Kayla
I was
says
like,
no.
"Yes, ma'am."
You've cut your hair before.
I have. I
Not
cut
that
all of
short.
it off. Yes, I have.
You don't remember
I'll
that?
show
Never
you.
mind. We'll
I'll
get
show
to
you
that next
photos.
time. Gabby has had very short hair before.
I have.
But yeah, I'm super excited, especially if this movie is like up to par with the first two movies, especially since it's supposed to be. It's directed by the guy who did Deadpool, and I really like Deadpool.
I like Tim Miller. He's dope.
It's good.
Yeah,
I love Deadpool.
and he said he didn't want to make this movie unless they had something to do that hadn't been done in a Terminator movie before. And this one is going to be like the consequences of the actions that happened in Terminator 2.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. Also, Linda Hamilton coming back
Yes!
as Sarah Connor. The only
Yes!
person who is, like, no offense, Emilia Clarke, the only person who has come, like, almost up to par
Lena Headey.
is Lena Headey in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. When I was watching T2, I realized, wow, Lena Headey really came so close to Linda Hamilton's performance and the way that she behaves as Sarah Connor.
Yep.
So I'm excited to have Linda Hamilton back. That's exciting. Somebody said a lot of fans thought that having Arnold Schwarzenegger in the series, that he was the heart and the core of what makes that series great, but it's actually Linda Hamilton apparently. So I'm excited.
It's a little interesting to me because the quote you were saying is that like he didn't want to do it unless they did something different or like something that they hadn't done before. But then also people are saying like, yeah, it's kind of like T2 again, but newer. Which
Is it like T2 or T1?
well, people are saying. Wait, what are they saying? T1.
There's
I
like
don't know.
T1.
One of them. I guess it will be T2 though because they have a Terminator helping them.
But they also
They don't
have,
have that in the
but
book.
they also have a
there's-
Sarah Connor who needs to be saved.
Yeah.
No, it's just like a mixture.
Yeah.
Terminator 1.5. It's Timon and Pumbaa running
Yes.
around.
I like that
The
movie.
robot.
I love that movie.
But yes, so I'm expecting Terminator 1.5. I don't know, like the trailer, it doesn't get me super excited.
Really, I'm going.
I love that song.
hunting.
It
Does that make
slaps.
you
Like
excited?
I like
It
that
looks
song.
really cool. to
And
me.
yeah, like
and also,
the new
there's
Terminator
so many
dude
brown
looks really
people
dope.
in it. I'm so
Brown
happy.
people are dope.
Oh, also, there's
Also.
a scene in the trailer with the who's playing the Sarah Connor equivalent.
Girl, I don't know her name.
Me either.
She's
So
like
we're
new.
even.
She's new
really
to this. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a scene where like there's a robot that's like pretending to be her dad, and she goes Papi, and I was like, I've never heard somebody on screen really say Papi, like, and actually mean their dad. Like I can't remember the last time I've heard a Latina on screen be like, like say
sorry.
Papi and not mean it like, ooh, Papi.
Me and Dallas was like, whoa, wait a minute.
No, no, well, because I mean that's what I call my dad. It's the
yeah, I mean,
equivalent to
obviously,
daddy.
yeah, it's dead.
But
Oh,
like
boy.
people have like ruined it. Like in
They have fetishized the word.
yeah, they
guys.
fetishize the
Demi,
word,
I
and
think I
it's
might
like
have
that's
found
not.
Title for us.
Stop it. The actress's name is Natalia Reyes.
Yeah, she says that in the trailer, and I was like, I relate really hard to just that one little bit, and honestly,
To
that
a
one little
robot
bit.
impersonating your dad.
No, to the girl reacting to the robot
To
as
her
her
father.
dad, and like calling him the way, like something that I actually call my dad, and other Latinas called their dad, and just their dad, not other people that aren't their dad.
Today's
And-
episode is brought to you by the word daddy and
No.
all of its
No, it isn't.
multicultural
Definitely isn't.
equivalents.
But like that little bit alone, like pulled at my heartstring enough that I was like, I need to see this movie. I really need to just see this movie. Like,
See, it was a touching moment, and you decided, Dallas,
We didn't
was.
decide
to
anything.
just
Hold on.
soil it.
First of all, boy, Gabby's the one who brought up the
Soiled
fact that in other movies
Soiled
they're
it.
using it in a different way.
but they are.
Soiled
There's
it.
literally a movie called Chasing Papi, and it's a bunch of Latinas chasing a dude that's not their father, just like a hot guy.
I didn't
and
know
I'm like,
that.
that's not how I use that word. That word, the way that I use it is very different the way it's used in mainstream. And for once, it's used in mainstream, or like not for once, but like for a time that like stood out to me, it's used the same in mainstream as how I use it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is enough to make me want to see this movie. Like, I'm sure there's other instances in media where that's happened, but I can't bring them to mind right now.
That's how rare it is, guys. Colin, you're not going to see the movie, but do you have any ideas, theories?
I mean, there will be explosions. There'll be robots. Someone will shoot guns a bunch. They'll probably
Oh,
have
a lot of
callbacks to the
people.
first two so that you forget about the ones that you don't like.
To be fair, there's only one of them that I dislike.
The I'll be
I meant
back.
the general you,
Oh wait, the Genesis.
the world.
No, actually,
I liked.
I like Genesis.
Okay, how do I put this? I liked the first part of Genesis until John Carter's like evil, and then I was like,
Jan-
no,
John
Connor.
John Connor.
John Connor. Did I say
Which,
John Carter again?
by the way,
Darn. Sorry, guys.
John Connor, JC, purposefully given those initials because Jesus Christ, and he's supposed to be a Jesus Christ figure.
Of course.
I learned that in middle school, and I loved it.
Oh, and then Linda
Oh.
Carter's Mary. Okay, let's go.
What?
What?
Well, at least in like Latino, like Catholic dogma, the Virgin Mary is like a very huge figure.
You just
So it
sound like you
makes
said
sense.
Linda Carter.
She did say Linda Carter.
No, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yes.
You meant Sarah Connor.
We're just.
She meant Sarah Connor or Linda
Linda
Hamilton.
You're just
yes, I
having
did.
So much trouble.
Goodness
She's
gracious.
getting names mixed up. It's fine. But, you know, that's where we cap it off today, guys.
Yep.
Colin, I need you to find me a fan fiction of Wonder Woman fighting a Terminator.
It does exist.
There has
me a
to
bit.
be.
It 100% does.
All right. On that note, thanks guys for listening to another wild episode of Creative Differences, the podcast.
Throwback Thursday.
Happy
Woo!
Throwback Thursday. Happy Halloween. Get spooky.
Yes.
Thank you to Demi, as always, for editing and thumbnailing and doing all that stuff.
And giving fun facts.
Yes, fun facts about Terminator. Thank you to Brandon and Io over at Crown Digital for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
See.
Y'all are dope. Thank you to the listeners for spending your Halloween or whatever day you're listening to this, listening to our podcast instead of whatever it is you'd be doing on Halloween. I don't know. You can find us on Twitter at y'all_different. You can find us on Facebook. Just search for Creative Differences. You can find us on Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast. You can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
You can find me, Gabby, on Instagram at Stegosaurus.
She forgot her username
Yes,
for a second
I
there.
did.
It's okay. She's been forgetting a lot of stuff today.
I'm so sorry.
And you guys can find me at Dreamy Films on Twitter and Instagram. That is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
Yes. Let us know in the comments how you use the words Papi and or Daddy.
You're not talented.
But also, let us know what your opinions are on Terminator. Do you have a ranking? Because I certainly do.
If it's just the first two, then you know.
Oh, I have
get
a
it.
ranking of everything.
I know you do. I know you do. All right, guys. It's been different. Happy Halloween.
Bye.